here I've got the Platinum Plus stitching out freestanding lace on 2 layers. You always need 2 layers of this Aqua Magic. And there are a load of these motifs that will be stitched out, and eventually I will attach them around the edge of my peacock pattern. But in the meantime, this is working away. I've slowed it down a bit just because it's really dense stitching. I don't want to have to sit here and watch the machine, so I'd rather just let it go for hours and have the sense of security that it's not going to break any threads on a very tight motif. So the Aqua Magic, as you can see there, from Inspira, works very well, and I just have to wash it out once it's finished. And I'll show you that in due course. So here we are, 4 hours later. A few pauses while I went and walked the dog and stuff. We're on motif number 36. You can see the speed is at 4 out of 5. I could potentially move it up to 5 out of 5, but using a mega hoop, it's not usually advisable to go too fast. But I haven't had any thread breaks, I'm pleased to say. And it's working. You can see how many motifs have been done thus far. So we've got the last row here. I'm using the thread silicone oil bobbin thread for this, and it's working very well. So I've decided to take my chances and increase this up to speed 5 out of 5, and it's just finishing the first motif at the high speed and seems to be going okay, so maybe we're in luck. And I've hooped it perfectly and the thread oil is working perfectly, so it's doing its bit. So we're on the last motif now. We've done the entire row at full speed with no thread breaks, so I could have saved myself some time by ramping up the speed earlier, I think. I just find that sometimes if you get thread breaks, it takes so long to rethread the machine and set everything back up that sometimes it's worth running it slower, but in this case, I was just erring too much on the side of caution, and I didn't need to. But hey ho, you live and learn. So when I do the next set, I can run the whole thing, because I've got a few of those to do. I can just run the whole thing at full speed. That'll be fantastic. Okay, I decided to throw caution to the wind. This time I've run the entire cycle at high speed, and I'm pleased to say it worked perfectly. Not a thread break in sight, so hooray! Today I thought it'd be fun to share some learning experiences I've had with sewing on extremely fine net. So here's an example of some embroidery I did with metallic thread on really fine net. So this is a roll of 100 meters of very, very fine net. And in order to make this work, so these are motifs that I've stitched out on the embroidery machine, but this I did manually in template. But in order to make it work, so you can see it's very see-through, what I've done is I've used water-soluble stabilizer, and you can look, there's one layer of net there, and there's a second layer of net in the middle. So there's 2 layers with the water-soluble stabilizer behind, and I've stitched them together just so it holds it secure. And then once I've stitched on all of the embroidery motifs there, then I dissolve it. So I thought I'd show you how some of this works with the water soluble stabilizer and some tricks I've learned. So when you take the motif out of the hoop, you want to cut off the excess, because this stuff, when it dissolves, becomes sort of starchy, and you definitely don't want too much of that. You'll rinse for a long time. So I just trim the motif out and chuck it in a bowl, and then using sort of warmish, tepid to warm, so baby warm water, I just dissolve it, stir it around a little bit. What you'll see is it goes sudsy. So that's the starch coming out of it. You don't want it hot, and then you just dump the excess. You give it another good rinse. And then depending on how stiff you want the freestanding lace, you can rinse for quite a while, or just, you know, give it a second rinse. That's what I've done here. And then that's it. It's as simple as that. Now this is where I found there's a few more interesting tricks. So we're going to move here. So what I found quite helpful is, you know, it's all wet now, but you need to make sure it's laying flat. So what I've found is paper towel, and you can even reuse, as you can see, this is previously used paper towel. You just lay the motif out like that. And then just lay some paper towel, more paper towel on top, and then leave that for a few hours to evaporate. And it does evaporate quite effectively. Just rinse the bowl out for any extra starch, and then I just leave that wherever, in a warm kitchen or whatever, to dry. And then I can use those motifs pretty quickly. So that, you can see I've got a lot there for the rest of the motif when they come, because as you can imagine, this takes, you know, the whole thing. So when you're doing a lot of those, you have to use quite a lot of paper towel, but it's reusable, so it's not a problem. So I shall show you the next part. So I've got an oval dining room table, and I need to make another tablecloth. So there are a couple ways of doing this. One is to trace the fabric directly, and another is to use a piece of paper and then cut it out from there. But ultimately what I have to do is create a hem along the edge, and it needs to be even all the way around. So the easiest way in this case is to put some weights, which you can see I've put some weights, and then to trace the edge. So I've got a marker here, one of the wash away ones. Now this trace the edge of the table the whole way around, and then I can do my hem from that. So I can make sure the hem is exactly, I think I'll go for 10 centimeters, 4 inches from the edge of this. You could use chalk, this works as well. If I pull this chair out, and hopefully you can see the markings being made. once I've finished doing this tracing, what I can do is lay the piece of fabric down flat and then measure the hem, where it's trying to do a curved hem would not be a lot of fun. Does that show up? Really hard to see the markings, but they are there. So I shall continue doing this and show you the trimming bits later. Okay, so here we have the what we want to do is trace 10 centimeters, 4 inches from the curve. I'm going to use the center of the ruler to make sure that it's a nice even distance.